Highlight a new Hunter Biden record that I've recently made public. Before I get to that point, I'm going to take a trip down memory lane. Yes, down memory lane. On September 23, 2020, Senator Johnson and I released our quote-unquote Biden report, as it has been called. That report focused on questionable financial transactions between the Biden family and foreign government-linked individuals. On November the 18th, 2020, we released a supplemental to that report. I'm going to read several statements from the media and my Democrat colleagues about our report. So, start with September 23, 2020, a New York Times article by Nicholas Flandos described it in two ways. Quote, lack of meaningful new information, end of quote, and, quote, overlap with Russian disinformation campaign, end quote. And then Democratic Minority Leader was quoted in the same article and said the report read, quote, as if Putin wrote it, not United States senators, end of quote. On September 23rd, 2020, Salon article by Igor Dershish quoted a Democratic senator saying that the report was the culmination of a, quote, sham investigation, end quote. In that article, the same Democratic senator described our investigation as being, quote, rooted in disinformation, end quote, from Russian operatives. Separately, a Democratic senator also said about our report, quote, bottom line, the Johnson-Grassley investigation is baseless. It's laundering Russian propaganda for circulation in the U.S., end quote. On September 23rd, 2020, CBS article by Melissa Quinn, another Democratic senator said about our report, meaning the Johnson-Grassley report, quote, the chairman have amplified a known Russian attack on our election, end quote, and, quoting again, it is unconscionable that the chairman are continuing to advance false information intended to undermine our democratic process at the expense of bipartisan work that we should be doing to protect our national security, end quote. That same CBS article said that our report, quote, reveals little new information, end of quote. And one Washington Post columnist, Josh Rogan, said, quote, even after accepting disinformation from Russian agents, Johnson and Grassley couldn't come up with anything new or interesting on Hunter Biden, end of quote. So, understand this. Week after week, month after month, year after year, the media and my Democrat colleagues falsely attacked our investigation with reckless disregard for the truth. I've spoken at length on the Senate floor rebutting all these false charges with example after example. I did so on May the 11th, 2021, March the 18th, 2021, December the 14th, 2020, December the 10th, 2020, October the 19th, 2020, and September the 29th, 2020. Well, on November the 15th this year, Senator Johnson and I publicly released a record that I placed in part on this poster next to me, and I'll get to this in a minute. The full document illustrates an assignment and assumption of business interest. The part next to me is a signature block in unaltered form, including one typographical error. The signature block includes Hunter Biden, two of his companies, and individuals connected to the communist Chinese regime. These are the main companies that Hunter Biden and his associates used to funnel money all over the world. Hudson West 3, Hudson Hudson 5, and then the other ones are Coldwater Harbor Capital and Owasco. Owasco is Hunter Biden's firm that was a recipient of millions of dollars from questionable financial transactions. Go Win Dong, this gentleman here was the right-hand man for the owner of a company called CEFC China Energy Company. Merwin Yang was his associate. CEFC was an arm of the Chinese government. Hunter Biden was a close business partner of these men and their companies. Therefore, this signature block shows a direct financial and legal relationship between Hunter Biden and individuals connected to the communist regime. Now, these are the same folks and companies that we discussed at length in our September 2020 report. This new document is yet another record that substantiates our report that we issued September 2020. That same report that the media and my Democrat colleagues said was based on Russian disinformation. So, I now say to the media, and I now say to my Democrat colleagues that said that our report was Russian disinformation, this question: is this signature block Russian disinformation? Are the names of these companies Russian disinformation? Is this document disinformation? No. This is a legitimate record that my staff uncovered, and it didn't come from the Hunter Biden laptop. This is the same type of record that Senator Johnson and I based our report several months ago on. So, to my Democratic colleagues who falsely smeared our report, you're in the majority. You are now committee chairs, and that you have jurisdiction over these matters. So I want to challenge you to use the same effort and energy that you exerted in the Trump-Russia investigation to expose the extensive ties between the Chinese regime and members of the Biden family. And I think I speak with some credibility on this point because you know there was a President Trump, and at the time there was a President Trump, I investigated Donald Trump Jr. on things that were appropriate at that time to ask legitimate questions about in the congressional role of congressional oversight, the constitutional role of congressional oversight. Now,